Mpumalanga, just outside Nelspruit, for the Donaldson Cross Country Championship. It's the first time that this event has been added to the calendar. But the question is why, given the stunning surroundings? Well, looks can be deceiving because this course certainly is challenging and will test the drivers to their limits.
Malalane is situated along the N4 en route to Mozambique. It's a beautiful stretch of road, maintained and looked after by Track. With me is Leanne Pollock. Hi there, Leanne. Have you been down that side of the world?
Hi there, Derek. Yes, I have, and many have described it as paradise, and they're not too far off. It's an early Friday morning, spectators and drivers gearing up for what is the second leg of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship. The first leg took place in Northwest Province last month, and Derek chatted to the production winner of that race, Lance Woolridge, before the prologue got underway.
Lance, is it a strange feeling being at the top going into this one?
It is. It's something very new for me. Something I've never experienced before, so I've been getting myself quite nervous, but then I just have to tell myself to calm down, pretend I'm back at the first race, everyone's on level playing field, and just go out and enjoy it and just drive my race.
Let's speak about the Ford, because your Ranger was fantastic in the first race. The car's looking good.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of state of the art, worldwide standards. So from that point of view, I'm extremely lucky. Got the 5-litre Mustang engine V8, so that's excellent power. It's very different to the diesels, but overall I think the car is much better. We proved that last race with Chris coming second as well. It just shows it wasn't on the driver. Both cars are excellent, so I think we're extremely lucky to be driving this car, and it's really state of the art.
There'll also be plenty of eyes on the Castrol Toyota team.
Now, there's no doubt coming into this championship, I mean, you are the guys to beat, you are the defending champions, and how much pressure comes with that?
Well, plenty, you know. The whole team is here to win races and be successful, so, you know, we've all got to make sure that we're doing whatever our department is to do as best as we can to try and achieve success.
You know the routes around SA like the back of your hand, but this is one that's fairly new to you?
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of it just on the way here. It seems as though it's similar to, I would think, the Eastern race in Natal. It's very tight, very slippery, no room for error, and the forest should be fun, and I'll be looking forward to it.
Last time out, we saw Heinz Winkler in action in the Imperial Automotive Celebrity Challenge. This time, the beautiful Roxy Lowe will assist Archie Rutherford from the navigator's seat.
I'm pretty excited but nervous at the same time. It's my first time navigating, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Take the navigating out of it. What about being in the situation just in the car itself, off-road? Have you had experience in that before?
Well, I have kind of experienced it. I mean, we've had a little pre-run of the off-road racing, and it's quite exciting. I mean, I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, so I think I'm more eager and more excited to get going than anything else.
Well, that must have been torture, Derek. Right, well, it's all systems go for the start of the prologue of the Nkomazi 400. Out first, Force and Howie in their Castrol Toyota Hilux.
Followed by the Ford Racing pair of Chris Fiss and Yampie Bardnos, who will be looking to go one better this time round after finishing second in the RFS 400.
The RFS BMW pair of Christian de Bloy and Henk Janssen van Vieren will certainly want to improve from their last outing, where they were in contention before breaking the suspension kilometers from the end. And that left turn just too tight for them, forcing them to stall.
Yes, this terrain proving to be tricky, and in stark contrast to what they encountered last month. We're back with Visser and Badenhorst, and they look to be held up somewhat behind Voss and Howie.
The Atlas Copco team of Gary Bertholdt and Siegfried Rousseau in their Toyota Hilux. And as we take a look at the pictures here, this is about 2 kilometers in. Oh my goodness, they were completely blinded there. That could have ended badly, and a ditch proving to be the cause of that.
Very scary moment for Bertholdt, doing superbly to recover though and continue in the race. Force and Howie back on the road, despite experiencing a puncture during the prologue, being a rocky start to the championship for the defending champs.
The Regent Racing team of Michael Whitehouse and Matthew Carlson, and looking good in their Nissan Navara, only the second time out in their new car.
These men were simply superb at the RFS 400. Woolridge and co-driver Huxtable in the Ford Racing Ranger. We heard from the driver earlier and it's hard to believe he's just 21 years old.
Oh, and we have a mistake there from the championship leaders. Wrong slotting at the turn and going right instead of left, but it doesn't appear to be any major harm done.
Except maybe for a few seconds. Every second is critical in the race, as these men will tell you, Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy in the second Castrol Toyota Hilux.
Well, it's proving to be a very tough day for the Regent Racing pair of Thomas Rundle and Joan Moore, who lost the clutch on the Navara at the start.
As if this race wasn't hard enough, now the two have to compete without the services of a clutch, which could prove to be a severely problematic and time-consuming experience. Well, it looks as if they've wrong slotted here and need to turn around. This is where the clutch problem comes into effect. It's a case of cutting the motor before putting it into reverse. A nightmare for any driver.
Well, let's catch up with our celeb team of Roxy and Archie. She looked cool, calm and collected before the start, and things seem to be going all right on the road.
It's looking a little bumpy inside though, and after finding the correct page in the roadbook, Roxy's not scared to bark out the orders.
Well, there certainly are plenty of spectators out on the route. Here they're cheering on the Atlas Copco team of Johan van Staden and Mike Lawrenson.
The leading team in the E-Class, Dirk Patte and Chris Claessens. I caught up with Dirk before the race, and despite his success, the guy's extremely humble.
As are these two, the Horn brothers, Johan and Werner, in the Malalane Toyota Land Cruiser, with Father Johan Sr. massively responsible for getting the Nkomazi 400 off the ground.
A great Friday for Deploy and Van Vuren, finishing fastest in their RFS BMW, almost 2 minutes ahead of Visser and Badenhorst in the Ford Racing Ranger, while Berthold and Rousseau in their Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux finished third despite their major scare.
Well, from productions to specials, and the RFS 400 in Magaliesburg saw a maiden win for the Dirt Sport Components Porter team of Clint Gibson and Gary Campbell. And there's no doubt that they'll be looking for more of the same in the beautiful surrounds of Malalane.
Been a great start to the year. We just need to keep the momentum, keep our heads, and if we can bring it home on the podium every race, yeah, we have a good chance. We're very excited. We're optimistic that we're going to do well this year. The last 2 years have been a long road, obviously preparing the car and getting to the standard that we want. And we feel we're there now.
And now, in terms of momentum, you guys have the victory. You are in front now. What's the pressure like? And is it a position that you're comfortable with, being number one and being the guys to catch to?
I'm comfortable. Hey, I'm relaxed. We've been doing the sport a long time. It's if you panic in the sport, you make mistakes. If you're calm, cool, collective, you seem to do a lot better. So, yeah, I'm happy where we are. I'm not stressed.
First out, reigning champions Evan Hutchison and Donnie Stassen from Motorrad Racing in the Bat Venom.
Colin Matthews and Alan Smith in the Century Racing CR3 experiencing brake problems from the start, but it doesn't look to be affecting their race too much.
Now, Leanne, these two are known to set up a good prologue. Let's see if history repeats itself. Back with Hutchison and Stassen, a tricky area this, as the road does fork. Luckily, they took the correct route.
The Elegant Fuel team of Herman and Richard Solwald in the Porter having some trouble with the terrain though.
All eyes on the championship leaders, Gibson and Campbell, finding things a lot tougher this time round. The Dirt Sport Components pair impressing all with their performance at the RFS 400, proving to be definite title contenders. And there's Gary's brother Glenn with Clint Brook.
Stepping up from the Northern Regions Championship, Philip de Vries and Johan Viljoen in the nicely turned out Conqueror Porter.
Nick and Ryan Harper in another Motorrad Racing Bat Venom, finding the route very tight, as mentioned before, very different from Magaliesburg.
We're on board now with Marius and Jolinda Fourie in the PHB Bat Spec 4 and looking a little unsure at the turn there, but opting to go right.
Is that a car up ahead heading their way? It is. That's the last thing you want to see out on the route. The Harper's wrong slotting, and three's following suit.
Matthews and Smith then the quickest in the prologue, finishing in a time of 1:03.33, just over a minute and a half ahead of Hutchison and Stassen, while the Silvalds finished in third place.
With the prologue done and dusted, the drivers and navigators were able to rest ahead of the big day, race day. Early Saturday morning in Mpumalanga, it may be overcast, but that takes nothing away from the beautiful surroundings the teams find themselves in.
Some final checks and touch-ups to the vehicles, and no doubt Friday's action saw plenty of damage inflicted to the cars. RFS duo Deploy and Janse van Vieren will be the happiest of the lot, starting from pole position, so to speak.
Yeah, we're just going to try and keep it together and stay focused, and we have a bit of time to play with. So just try and keep it together till we're in the mountains. It should be difficult to pass for the other guys, and it's very dusty up there. So yeah, we're just going to try and keep it together and dominate the race, or try and control the race from the front.
Strong words from Deploy, wanting to dominate the race in the production vehicle category. I wonder if Colin Matthews feels the same after finishing on top in the Specials prologue.
We worked really hard to get to a race, and it's like a childhood dream come true, you know, before a race. It's really exciting. Our pressure's on, it's going to be lots of fun. Malalane, Toyota and the community have just welcomed us here and given us such an awesome place to race, so it's really, really awesome.
An aerial shot of the fantastic start-finish at the Riverview Preparatory School outside of Malalane, and thousands in attendance for the start of the first loop of the Nkomazi 400.
And off goes the RFS BMW X3 of Deploy and Van Vieren, looking to make the most of their lead.
They're closely followed by the Century Racing CR3 of Matthews and Smith, and it looks like they're finding the start a little on the slippery side.
The next production vehicle off is the Ford Racing Ranger of Visser and Badenhorst.
Back to the leaders Deploy and Van Vieren. They said after the prologue that it was the kind of route and terrain they like, and they're certainly proving it now.
Now Matthews and Smith wrong-slotted a few times during the prologue. There's a fork there, let's hope they didn't do the same.
Well, if they did, then they're in good company, as they were closely followed by Visser and Badenhorst.
On board with the Century Racing CR3 of Matthews and Smith, slowing down and pulling over. They didn't wrong slot, they're just letting the faster Ford Ranger through.
Well, a bakkie is not a bad choice on this terrain. Visser and Badenhorst in the Ford Ranger comfortably in second place.
And they certainly are gaining on the leaders, Deploy and Janse van Vieren. These narrow routes not allowing for easy overtaking, and it's proving to be the case once again. The RFS BMW sportingly pulling over to let the Ranger through. So we have a new leader in Visser and Badenhorst.
In third place, Gary Bertholdt and Siegfried Rousseau. Bertholdt overcoming a severe bout of motion sickness during the prologue.
We haven't seen much of the Castrol Toyota of Voss and Howie. Here they're right on the bum of Matthews and Smith. Can't be too long before the Century CR3 lets them pass. And there we go. The Hilux given clearance to make their way through.
Well, the two are rocketing along the route. Voss did say before that overtaking would be tricky.
Specials being caught up by the production vehicle seems to be the overriding theme. And here we have Hutchison and Stassen closely followed by the Castrol Toyota Hilux of Taylor and Murphy.
The conditions from inside looking very tough for the Castrol Toyota pair. Visibility very poor, and made even poorer now after the windscreen took a blow. Doesn't look pretty at all.
We're just in time to find the Regent Racing Nissan Navara of Whitehouse and Carlson having trouble, wrong slotting and having to turn around, taking out some sugarcane in the process. Luckily their detour wasn't too severe, only a couple of meters. But close on their heels, Woolridge and Huxtable in the Ford Ranger, not making the same mistake.
Campbell and Gibson described the prologue as being very busy, and it's certainly proven to be the case so far.
They also said dusty, and again they were right on the money. The Silvolts and the Elegant Fuel Porter finding that out at the turn.
With their clutch issues a thing of the past, Rundle and Moore in the Regent Racing Navara are back on track.
They're behind the motorite Bat Venom of Hutchison and Stassen, but the way things have been going so far, I can't imagine it will be too long until they pass the pair.
Too true, the Regent Racing Navara catching up very quickly here. And Hutchison gives way accordingly, letting the Nissan through.
The Atlas Copco pair of Van Staden and Lawrenson in the Toyota Hilux, they said the prologue was simply excellent.
Back with Varese in the PHB Bat Spec 4, and hopefully no more wrong turns for them.
The LA Sports BMW of Henny de Klerk and Johan Smallberger making its first appearance of the season.
After 60 kilometers, Visser and Badenhorst in the Ford Ranger in front, followed by Deploy and Van Vieren in the RFS BMW, with the Atlas Copco Hilux of Berthold and Rousseau in third spot.
In the specials, Matthews and Smith first in their Century Racing CR3, followed by Gibson and Campbell in their Dirt Sport Components Porter. Appearing through the dust, a pair of Silvolts, the Elegant Fuel Bat Venom of Quinton and Cully.
Brothers Johan and Werner Horn in the Malalane Toyota Land Cruiser, they experienced 2 punctures during the prologue.
Pat and Claessen's leading matters in Class E in their Ford Ranger, not bad considering the switch from petrol to diesel.
We continue in Loop 1 with the leaders in the production vehicle category, Visser and Badenhorst in only their second outing in the Ford Ranger, holding on to the lead en route back to DSP.
And they're closely followed by Deploy and Van Vieren in their RFS BMW X3. They'll certainly be wanting to reach the finish line this time round. On board with them now, once again visibility almost non-existent. Massive problems here, and it looks as if they've rolled. The race definitely over for them. Let's see if they're okay.
Right, then. Yeah.
Terrible result for them once again, but at least they're okay. Back on the road here, and it means that Berthold and Rousseau will take over second place in the Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux. The last time we were on board with them, they managed to recover well after hitting a huge ditch, and let's hope history doesn't repeat itself.
Plain sailing from them. In third place now, Foss and Howie from Team Castrol Toyota. They ended 10th at the RFS 400, but they're looking good for a much better finish this time round.
Beautiful sights there as the pair race through the sugarcane, and all the teams have described the course as being extremely narrow, and that puts it into perspective.
Not far behind them is the second Castrol Toyota pair of Taylor and Murphy.
Despite the severely damaged windshield, the Hilux is motoring, and here they're overtaking the Regent Racing pair of Whitehouse and Carlson.
Whitehouse described the route as being very difficult for drivers, and his words are certainly ringing true there.
Here we have the leaders in the special vehicle category, Matthews and Smith from Century Racing, entertaining some of the many spectators in attendance on the Nkomazi 400.
On board with the two now, and it looks as if they're struggling somewhat. They certainly have picked up a problem, going straight into the grass, sending spectators scurrying. The result, a puncture.
And that's allowed Gibson and Campbell in their Dirt Sport Components Porter to take the lead.
Father and son Hammond and Vickard Silvolt in the Elegant Fuel Porter holding on to third place.
Back to the productions, and it's Rundle and Moore just inside the top 10.
Helicopter footage giving us the perfect view of the motorite racing Bat Venom of Hutchison and Stassen, who appear to be having problems and giving up 2 places in the process.
Van Staden and Lawrenson looking good in their Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux.
The Varese PHB Bat Spec 4 absolutely caked in dirt.
Well, a far cleaner Elegant Fuel Bat Venom close behind them, driven by Quinton and Cully Silvolt.
Dirk Patter still leading the Class E race despite his left door looking anything but good.
Jason Venter and Vincent van Alleman in their Trisim Racing Toyota Hilux, the new leaders in Class D after the horns in the Malalane Toyota Land Cruiser were forced to retire because of a broken clutch.
Now they started in second place, but the Ford Racing pair of Visser and Badenhorst arrive at the DSP in first place in the production vehicle category. And they're followed by Berthold and Rousseau in the Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux. We caught up with some of the leaders.
It's nice to be in front, and it's a nice route. The second section in the mountains are quite dangerous and high, but fortunately this man can keep the car on the road.
What's it like out there?
Yeah, it's very tight, very treacherous. You really have to watch exactly where you're going. It's not going to be a cut and dried case out there. Unfortunately, Christian's just rolled it, so we're second in. We're a little bit behind the Ford, and I'm sure that from a Atlas Copco Hilux point of view, we're doing well. Duncan's behind us. I think we got about a minute and a half on him, so we opened a nice gap. Should be a good race.
Not too bad at the moment. Up in the forest there's a bit of mist. It's quite damp. I think it's even raining up there. So it's very slippery, very tricky. You can't make a mistake. But as soon as you got to a lower sort of level, the mist cleared and visibility was a bit better, but no problem so far.
Confirmation of the order after Loop 1. Visser and Badenhorst just under 2.5 minutes ahead of Berthold and Rousseau, while Force and Howie are in third place.
In the specials, Gibson and Campbell reaching the DSP first.
Yeah, a lot better than everyone anticipated. We capitalised on the forest, obviously, because we didn't have dust, so we managed to catch Herman, and I think Evan might have had a problem, and we managed to get past Ev. But yeah, we're just trying to maintain it, just keep it neat and tidy, but it's treacherous right there, especially up in the mountains.
It's going like a really lovely race. We got a puncture just before we came in, so we lost overall lead, but hopefully we'll get it back now in the second loop.
So one more loop to go. Matthews and Smith just 45 seconds behind Gibson and Campbell, while the Silvalds, Herman and Wichard are third.
Loop 2 underway, Ford Racing's Visser and Badenhorst leading from the front, although the driver is extremely wary of the mountainous section during the second loop.
Well, you saw how pleased Gary Berthold was earlier, and so he should be. The Atlas Copco team doing themselves very proud in second place.
Castrol Toyota's defending champs Foss and Howie making light work of the terrain, much to the appreciation of the crowd. They're in third.
And they're closely followed by Castrol Toyota teammates Taylor and Murphy.
Great performance so far from Matthews and Smith in the Century Racing CR3. They quickly closed the 45-second gap and have regained the lead.
Father and son, Herman and Wichard, having moved up to third in the Elegant Fuel Porter, having to deal with the very wet conditions, and it can't be too much fun in a special.
In contrast, I promise you it's a lot of fun for those watching, a new experience over there in Malalane. Another Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux, Van Staden and Lawrenson, hoping to replicate the efforts of Berthold and Rousseau, handling the terrain with confidence.
A hard-chasing Quinton and Kali Silvald, who spoke glowingly of the route during the DSP.
Gibson and Campbell surrendered their lead due to a puncture some 20 k's into Loop 2 to Matthews and Smith.
A spectacular view of the motorite racing bat venom of Nick and Ryan Harper delighting the crowd.
Johan Berger and Malcolm Koch in the Koch & Sons Toyota Hilux had a superb run in the first loop, gaining plenty of places. They'll be looking for more now.
Hutchison and Stassen in motorite bat venom, they've had a difficult time of things after their gear selector spring broke earlier.
To the back of the field now, the Rubicon Racing range of Lodebrain and Rian Hreling.
Great handling there from Regent Racing's Whitehouse and Carlson, looking strong for a top 5 finish.
The leaders in Class D, Trisim Racing's Fent and Van Alleman, have had a superb run.
And not a bad performance from the Imperial Automotive Celeb team of Rutherford and Lowe. A top 10 finish looks on the cards.
While Patter and Claasen's enthusiastically being cheered on by spectators are well clear in Class E in their Ford Ranger.
Speaking of Fords, all eyes on the finish from Ford Racing to welcome home the winners in the production vehicles and the team's second win on the trot, but different drivers this time, Visser and Badenhorst.
A superb performance from the two, going one better from where they finished last month. So celebrations all round from drivers and the fans, but Visser taking none of the accolades, instead showering praise on his co-driver.
I just want to thank Jalpi. First of all, yes, he kept us on the road the whole day, and we had no problems, no mistakes, nothing. And then the team, yes, if you compare the car to the previous event, yes, this is a new car. Yeah, it's an unbelievable car that we drove today.
So a fantastic win for the Ford Racing pair, finishing ahead of Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau from Atlas Copco, while defending champions Voss and Howie and the Castrol Toyota Hilux finished in third.
The Imperial Automotive Celeb team in the Nissan Navara finishing in 10th place. How did Roxy find it?
Well, apparently I was really calm and I handled it well, but obviously it's a new track, so it was pretty tight. And the driver that was driving with me told me that it was one of the tightest and one of the roughest tracks that he'd ever ridden. So yeah, it was quite a challenge, and we definitely got airborne a few times, which was also exciting.
A spectacular finish from Colin Matthews and Alan Smith in the Century Racing CR3. What a showman! Coming home in first place despite starting the second loop in second position.
A sensational ending to what was a fantastic 2 days of action in the Donaldson Cross Country Championship. I was down in Malalane. I enjoyed it immensely, as did everyone involved, and can't wait to be back.
It's not a result we needed, it's a result we always want, and that's what we push for every single race.
We're really happy. We're really happy. Alan did a fantastic job. Our crew did a fantastic job. And the car ran really well, and luckily to bring it home first.
Matthews and Smith take the checkered flag, while the elegant fuel outfit of Hammond and Richard Silvold grabs second spot, with cousin and brother Quinton and Cully rounding off the podium in third.
That wraps it up for the Nkomazi 400. Next week we go behind the scenes at the Donaldson Cross Country Championship.
The Donaldson Cross Country Championship, brought to you by Donaldson Filtration Systems, a market leader in filtration solutions.